check it out. Today on the menu, we are making a pork stir fry in a savory peanut sauce. Now this sauce is not your typical kind of sweet peanut sauce. This is a little spicy, it's a little tangy, and it's absolutely divine. And for this stir fry, I am mixing some pork loin, some carrots, some broccoli, some scallions, and then I'm tossing it all together with some egg noodles. Now, you can do this however you want. I will say the pork does add a lot of flavor, but if you want to skip the pork and go for some tofu, skip it all together and just do veggies, this will still taste fantastic, and that's because our sauce is beautiful. It's so good. It is so tasty. I am just waiting to dive in here. Before we get started, there are a few things I want to discuss with you. Number one, let's talk about the sauce. With this sauce, it has a little bit of heat because we are adding some sriracha. If you do not like spice, just leave out the sriracha and it won't have that same bright, tangy punch to it, but it will still have a beautiful flavor because we are using some vinegar. Speaking of vinegar, let's talk about the vinegar I'm using. I am using a rice vinegar in our sauce, but if you do not have rice vinegar, you can totally go with an apple cider vinegar. It's gonna give you that same bright acidic flavor, and it's not gonna overpower our sauce and just kind of ruin it. Another vinegar you could substitute is a white distilled vinegar, but anything else I would just steer clear from. You definitely do not want to use balsamic vinegar. Cool. Next, I want to talk about the noodles. Noodles are totally optional with this dish. As long as you have that pork to start it off, that flavor is going to build in our pan. We're gonna deglaze that flavor. I'll show you what that means, don't worry. And it's going to also build some flavor in our sauce. The noodles are just an extra bonus because they soak in our sauce. They're gonna taste really great and add a little more substance to the meal. But if you wanna skip noodles altogether, go for it. Or if you wanna switch the kind of noodle you're using, I used an egg noodle. You can use a rice noodle here. I used some bean threads for this before. Anything that's thin and glassy and that's going to absorb is perfect here. You could also use rice, but I feel like it might get a little soupy when it soaks up all the sauce. So definitely stick with a noodle if you're going to use a grain. So here's our final dish, and I'm gonna show you how we make that. I'm gonna put this over here. Before we do anything, we have to prep our ingredients, and I have some chopped broccoli hanging out, but I wanted to show you how I slice my carrots and my scallions for stir fry because there's so many different ways that you can prepare these ingredients, and I just think a thin slice does best. Let's start with our carrots. It's really simple. I like to just do a diagonal cut with my carrot for a stir fry. And what I mean by that is we're just gonna lay it flat. If you wanna cut it in half vertically, go ahead. But I'm literally just going to take my knife and kind of angle it. So a little bit of a cheat angle here and diagonally slice, just like this. And there's something about slicing at a diagonal, it kind of runs through the carrot a lot easier than if you're slicing vertically through that little core. Also, make sure you're slicing thinly, as thin as you can. And a knife that's really helpful to use for this process is a santoku knife because it has this flat edge and you're gonna get a little more balance and a little more control when you have that flat edge ingredient. So we got thinly sliced carrots. Easy as that. So set those aside, and now let's cut our scallions. I usually just go for a classic like slice straight down, but for this, I want to use the whole green onion except for the root, which you should keep because you can actually grow scallions using this little bulb here. So I'm gonna place that aside, and then I'm gonna detach the top part of the green onion from this part. So you see where it gets a little separated? I'm gonna cut that off. Some people like to peel this off. I don't think it's necessary, so we're gonna leave it. For this, I'm just going to cut once again on a diagonal. And then when I get to that thicker kind of white part, I'm going to slice down. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna pinch it, pinch the scallion, and bring our knife in the middle and go right down. So then we split it in half like this. And then I just do the same thing. I just cut on a diagonal, add it to the pile. It's gonna taste exactly the same. There's no reason to leave this out. And actually in Chinese cooking, it's very common to use different cuts of scallion for different things. So for a sauce, a lot of the times the white part is used, and for garnishing, a lot of the times the green part is used and it's finely sliced. For this, we're just going for that angle, and save a few of these for topping, or just save another green onion for topping. But that's how we do our prep. And from here, we're gonna prep our pork. I am using a pork loin. I'm trying to make this healthy. I don't want a ton of fat, but pork loin has a lot of flavor. So you can leave them the way they are, or you can just cut them into thinner slices, which is actually gonna cook more quickly. Okay. All right, so we have these here, these slices. I'm just gonna repeat with the other one. I'm gonna make my sauce. First ingredient for our sauce is some soy sauce. I'm using the full sodium soy sauce, but you can also go low sodium and just check the salt levels if you'd like. Now I'm gonna add some rice vinegar. Beautiful. This will just help it get a nice bright flavor. And time for some peanut butter. I am just gonna use a natural peanut butter, but you can use any peanut butter that you prefer. And I'm just gonna go ahead, load it up. Woo, that's a big boy right there. There we go. Make sure it's as smooth as possible. Mine's got a little bit of texture, but that's all right. All right, now some honey. And if you like a kick, go with some sriracha. I love the taste of sriracha, especially with the peanut butter. It adds this nice depth of flavor, and of course, a little bit of spice. But sriracha's got a tangy spice flavor. It's a little bit different than every other hot sauce I've ever had. So if you're gonna add hot sauce, try the sriracha with this. So this is a microplane. It's just a mini grater. It says microplane. You can use any kind of grater. I just like this because it helps that garlic kind of just dissolve in the sauce. I'll do it over here so you can see. And you'll see it just go like this, and it just comes off. It's kind of like a minced garlic, but just easier and faster to make. Whoop. And then when you get to the end, I would just be very careful. And throw it in, because why not? And mix it in off the edge. It's all gonna come together in our skillet, but I just wanna make sure the garlic is not sitting on the edge. I'm just gonna use the same knife I used for my vegetables. Clean it off a little bit. I'm gonna cut this in half. And I'm going to peel it. So peel off the skin with my knife. Just really thin peeling. Whoop. Here is our ginger without the skin, the outside, whatever you want to call it. Now let's get our microplane again, put it on top here, and I'm just gonna go to town. Same thing I did with my garlic, just grating it on top. You can also use a pre-grated or pre-minced ginger. Usually the one you can buy at the store is kind of pickled, so just make sure you like that taste if you decide to go that route. All right, I'm using about a tablespoon and a half, but do whatever you prefer. Woo-hoo. And there we go. And I have these little bits. I'm just gonna throw them in. Okay, give it a mix one more time. And don't worry, this is all gonna come together when it's warmed up and the peanut butter melts into the sauce. But we're just giving it a head start. We're letting that ginger and that garlic soak in the flavor here, and it's all going to taste fantastic. But to be safe, definitely take a tasting spoon and try the flavors. Oh my gosh, this is so good. Wow. Now that that's done, I'm gonna go to the stove, so come with me. We're gonna boil some water, get ready for our noodles, and we're gonna pop that pork in our pan. Come on. Okay, I've got this large pan. If you have a wok, use that. That's always a great answer. And then simultaneously, I've got some water boiling next door for our noodles. Now, you can use a vegetable oil. I actually prefer avocado oil. It's just a little bit healthier. So I'm gonna generously oil the pan. I would say about a tablespoon, and let's let that heat up. That is our shimmering oil. We love it, we love it, we love it. All right, we don't want this to heat up too much. I'm gonna put all of our pork in here. There it is, I'm gonna move it around. All right, this is all done, so I'm gonna remove it from the pan. Just put it on a plate or in another pot, whatever's easier for you. But obviously, keep it in a clean area because we're going to add it back into the mixture later. And right now, we're actually going to deglaze our pan, which means we're going to pick up all this flavor. So we're picking up all that flavor. You'll see, look at that. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so delicious. I like it when my broccoli gets a lot of flavor from the liquid. It's kind of like a sponge. So that's why I like to cook it this way, but feel free to cook this however. All right, give this about 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm gonna let those go for 4 minutes. Let's check up on our veggies. Okay, let's move our pork back into our pan. And keep it on a medium heat. We don't want this to reduce too much. We want our noodles to go right into this and pick up a lot of flavor as well. All right, so now we're going to add the noodles. They are just cooked through, so a little firm. They're going to continue cooking in this about 9 heat to medium. Let's toss all of this in the mixture. We want our noodles to begin to really soak up this flavor. Our green onions, we add them at the end. We add them at the end so they don't totally cook through and become an olive savoury. That is it, you guys. That is the recipe. Now let's plate it and enjoy. Yum! And here she is. This is the final product here. I just tossed all of this, put it in a bowl, and I'm so excited to eat this. I gave my husband the other bowl because I'm a nice person. And finally, after taking so many photos, I'm ready to dig in, so let's do it. We got the pork, we got the noodles. I think I should just take a bite of the noodles. All right, I think I should get some veggies, some noodles. Let's see. And I'm eating it with a fork, but obviously you can use chopsticks. Wow. The flavor here is so powerful, but it's not too peanut buttery. I don't know if you've had a peanut butter sauce before or a peanut sauce, and it's just overpoweringly nutty. This has a nice tang, it's spicy, it's got that comforting nuttiness, and that peanut butter also helps it stick to our noodles. Then you've got that savory, salty soy sauce, and all of it together, especially with these sweet carrots. I love this. It's just beautiful. I also love how the noodles soaked up a lot of the sauce. That's why I love cooking with egg noodles or rice noodles. They really soak up the flavor. And another thing that I think helped the flavor of our vegetables is the liquid when we deglaze the pan. They basically absorbed all of that pork flavor, which, I mean, come on. If you don't like pork flavored vegetables, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing here. Absolutely amazing. Wow. If you guys want to keep this in the fridge overnight, I'm sure it would keep for about 2 days covered in the fridge. Just be careful, obviously, because any leftovers, especially with meat, you just want to be careful of it, but I'm sure it would keep nicely. And I absolutely love this dish. The full recipe will be in the link below on my website. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram. It's Dining with Skyler. I appreciate you guys watching. Oh, and don't forget to join the YouTube family and subscribe and click that notification bell. It would mean the world to me, and I'll give you some more delicious meals to enjoy. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. This is amazing. Oh, I love this. Don't include that. Bye.